Before I begin, I want to give you just a little bit of context as to what this speech actually is. In 1963, 21 children went to Sunday school at the 16th Street Church in Birmingham, Alabama. What they didn't know was that a group of segregationists had placed dynamite under the front steps of the church and ended up killing 4 children, and the other 17 were injured. And when I first read this speech, it really touched me because I think it's a relevant message even today, that all people are equal and that they shouldn't be treated differently just based on the color of their skin. So even though I'm only giving you a few minutes, I encourage you to go home and read the rest of it if you ever get a minute. This afternoon, we gather in the quiet of this sanctuary to pay our last tribute of respect to these beautiful children of God. Though they entered the stage of history just a few years ago, in the brief time they were privileged to act on this mortal stage, they played their parts exceedingly well. Now the curtain falls. They move through the exit. The drama of their earthly lives has come to a close. They are now committed back to that eternity from which they came. But they died nobly. They are the martyred heroines of a holy crusade for freedom and for human dignity. And so, this afternoon, in a very real sense, they have something to say to each of us in their death. They have something to say to every minister of the gospel who has remained silent behind the safe security of stained glass windows. They have something to say to every politician who has fed his constituents with the stale bread of hatred and the spoiled meat of racism. They have something to say to a federal government that compromises with the undemocratic practices of the Southern Dixiecrats and with the blatant hypocrisy of the right-wing Northern Republicans. They have something to say to every Negro who has passively accepted the evil system of segregation and who has stood on the sidelines in a mighty struggle for justice. They say to each of us, black and white alike, that we must substitute courage for caution. They say that we must not be concerned merely with who murdered them, but with the system, the way of life, the philosophy which produced the murderers. They say to us in their death that we must work passionately and unrelentingly for the realization of the American dream. And so I stand here today to say to all who are assembled that in spite of the darkness of this hour, we must not despair. We must not become bitter, nor must we harbor the desire to retaliate with violence. No. We must not lose faith in our white brothers. We must somehow believe that even the most misguided among them can come to respect the dignity and the worth of all human personality. Thank you.